Let me ask you something, and don't answer it out loud. Have you ever been in the middle of an argument and suddenly realized, I've had this exact fight before? Not just similar, the same tone, the same defensiveness, the same emotional spiral, different partner, same words, same outcome. And in that moment, something inside you sinks. Because you recognize the pattern, but you don't know how to stop it. That's not coincidence. That's not bad luck. That's your nervous system replaying an old emotional script. And it's been running your relationships longer than you realize. Stay with me, because once you see why this happens, you won't experience conflict the same way again. Welcome to DeepSoul Psyche, where the emotional meets the existential. If you're new here, hit subscribe so you can join our journey inward and explore the psychology behind how we love, attach, and connect. If you're here, it's probably not because you're curious. It's because something in that moment felt familiar. This channel is a space for people who are tired of repeating patterns they can name, but not yet escape. For people who want understanding, not blame. Clarity, not quick fixes. Here, we don't talk about toxic partners. We talk about the internal scripts that keep pulling you into the same emotional dynamics, no matter who you're with. So take a breath. You don't need to defend yourself here. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to look honestly. Let's begin. You've been here before. Different person, different relationship, different promises, but somehow the same fight, the same emotional explosion, the same moment where connection turns into tension, where closeness suddenly feels like danger. You might even tell yourself, this time is different. And for a while it is, until the pattern reveals itself again. You find yourself over-explaining, defending, withdrawing, exploding, or chasing reassurance that never quite lands. And the most unsettling part is this. You can see it happening, but you can't stop it. So the question forms quietly inside you. Why does my deepest desire, connection, keep turning into conflict? Why do I keep fighting the same emotional war with every partner? And here is the uncomfortable truth you were never taught. This isn't bad luck. It isn't choosing the wrong people. It isn't fate. It's something internal, something patterned, something learned long before this relationship ever began. And today, we're going to expose the hidden psychological forces that create this loop. Not to blame you, but to give you back clarity. Before we go deeper, pause here for a moment. This channel isn't about fixing other people. It's about understanding the internal scripts that shape your relationships. If you're new here, consider subscribing, not for content, but to commit to the inward journey, to clarity over confusion, to awareness over repetition. Now let's continue. What you're experiencing is not one problem. It's a system, a set of internal mechanisms that work together quietly, efficiently, to recreate the same emotional outcome. Let's break them down. 1. The unhealed shame core. At the center of many toxic relationship patterns is shame, not guilt. Shame. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am something wrong. If you carry an unhealed shame core, your nervous system is constantly scanning for rejection, even when none is present. Shame creates hypersensitivity. You don't just hear words. You hear implications. You don't just experience disagreement. You experience threat. So when your partner expresses frustration, your body reacts as if your worth is under attack. And that reaction becomes the fight, not because you want conflict, but because shame demands defense. 2. The performance of the persona. To survive emotionally, you learn to become acceptable, pleasant, competent, strong, low maintenance. This is the persona, the psychological armor you wear to earn connection. The problem is this. A performance cannot rest. And intimacy requires rest. The more you perform, the less safe vulnerability feels. So when intimacy deepens, panic rises. Eventually, the persona collapses, and the fight becomes the release valve. 3. Repetition compulsion. This is the core psychological engine behind the loop. Repetition compulsion is the unconscious drive to recreate unresolved emotional experiences, hoping this time the outcome will change. Your brain mistakes familiarity for safety. Chaos feels recognizable. Emotional volatility feels known. Distance feels normal. So calm relationships feel wrong, not boring, threatening. Your nervous system says, this doesn't feel like home, and it pulls you back toward what it understands, even if it hurts. 4. Emotional illiteracy of self. You were never taught how to name, regulate, or process your emotions. So instead, you manage them externally, through control, through reassurance seeking, through emotional escalation. When you can't hold your own emotions, you try to regulate them through your partner. And when they can't, or won't, your system panics. The fight becomes an attempt to feel grounded again. 5. Attachment activation panic. When attachment wounds activate, logic disappears. Your body reacts before your mind can intervene. You're not responding to the present moment. You're responding to memory. The argument isn't about the dishes, or the text message, or the tone. It's about abandonment, engulfment, or invisibility. And until the attachment system calms, resolution is impossible. Living under these scripts is exhausting. You're not relating. You're defending. Your nervous system stays on alert. Your mind stays strategic. Your heart stays guarded. And here's the illusion you live under. You think you're choosing safety, but you're choosing familiarity. You think intensity equals love, but it equals dysregulation. You think fighting means you care, but it often means you don't feel safe enough to be still. And slowly, connection becomes something you fear, even as you crave it. Here's the turning point. The more chaotic your internal scripts are, the more powerful your awareness becomes. Because chaos feeds on unconsciousness, but it collapses around clarity. You don't need to change your partner. You don't need better communication tricks. You don't need to relive your trauma endlessly. You need to understand your script, to recognize when the reaction isn't about now, but about then. This is not avoidance. This is sovereignty. The moment you stop mistaking emotional activation for truth, the pattern begins to lose its grip. If this resonated, stay with this work. Strengthen your emotional boundaries. Build internal literacy. Keep choosing clarity over compulsion. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work most people avoid. If you know someone trapped in this pattern, share this video with them. And now, I want you to do one thing. Go to the comments and write this sentence. I choose awareness over repetition. That commitment matters. I'll see you in the next conversation.